Hi everyone, we're up to lesson 3 and we're going to be continuing with the theme of looking to see how we can be safe counsellors. And you might think, why are we doing this of becoming self-aware? Well, it's simply because, I'm sure you're aware of this in everyday relationships, how we react to people isn't always helpful. And why do we react to some people? Why don't we even like some people? Why do some people make us feel really nervous? Well, this is going to happen with clients as well. And whether we like it or not, the people are coming to us for help. And so that does put us in again, whether we like it or not, a position of power in a way. So people are bearing their hearts to us, bearing their secrets to us. And so we need to handle that with great respect and reverence, really. So it's about making sure that we treat almost as holy what they're sharing with us. So our reactions are very important. They are vulnerable. And we just need to be very aware of why we're reacting. So our perspectives. First of all, I'd like to talk about how easy it is for us to misinterpret. For instance, let's just say I've got a client, a teenage client in my room, and we're talking about her father, and she's quickly got angry. I could assume, she has anger towards her father. So I might ask a question. But it's revealed, oh no, I'm not angry with my father. I was thinking how I hate it that my mother criticizes him all the time. So we're always observing in the counselling room, but often our interpretations aren't correct. So we must never assume. That's why we always ask questions. Just putting out questions, I'm wondering. I'm just curious. Those are good, even how we language it makes it very unintrusive. Another thing I'd like to talk about is transference and countertransference. Transference is, I'll just read it actually, it's the past experience or needs of the counsellee that are projected on to the counsellor. So for instance, I might become the mother figure that the counsellee has always wanted. Or I might remind her of her mother, who might have been a real dragon, and so she might be very reactive to me. Countertransference is the experiences, issues, and needs of the client being projected on, the experience, issues, and needs of the counsellor being projected onto the client. I think again as a mother I'm guilty of saying to the children, well I used to the children, put your jumper on, it's cold. Well, no, they're not cold, I'm cold. So that's, me projecting or putting on them what I'm experiencing. Very basic example, but it's what we do. And it's interesting how often I catch myself doing this, just in everyday conversation. So misinterpreting, observing, but incorrectly interpreting. Those are big things. I got you to do a exercise at the beginning, trying to establish what people's continuums are. Even within the Christian circles, huge differences. Like, if this is the I don't agree and this is the agree continuum, where do you sit on should Christians drink? Should Christians get divorced? Is global warming a truth? Is it mid-trib, pre-trib, post-trib, amill or premill end-time theology? So here we are. We all believe in the basics of the Christian life, but there will be variances. So never assume that even though we're Christians, that we all agree on the same thing. And I think I often assume people are in the Word of God a lot more than they actually are. And have they even read the Bible much? So all these assumptions we make because of our experience and what is our norm. So we all have a worldview that's going to be shaped by your socioeconomic background, your culture, what was normal for your family. For a child who was brought up in an abusive home, that's normal. To see dad use anger and violence to get his own way, that's normal. That works. I'll do that. That'll be part of my worldview. So in our worldview, we take on things from our past and experiences that aren't always truths. In fact, some of them can be lies, but they become the basis of what we believe. So just to be aware of these things. So while we can't change our past, we can, by God's grace, change the future by identifying these lies, bringing them before God, confessing them, repenting of them, putting off the lies, putting on God's truth. I read somewhere that actually an indication of mental health is the how truth lines up with reality. So the more your truth is away from reality, actually the more likely you are not to be doing so well mentally. But here's the thing, none of God's truth is reality, but none of us actually live totally in accordance with that reality. And I think that's what causes us a lot of suffering in our thinking and what we take to be truths when they're not. So these are all things that we need to be aware of in ourselves. Again, why? So that we can help people well and that we're not a hindrance. So for instance, if I have an anger problem and I'm not dealing with it, and I have a client who's come in and says, well, I've got really bad anger, and I listen to her and I think, well, gosh, that's not bad, she's not beating up her kids. I might minimize her problem. I mean, that's a funny example, but there's a truth. If I have a bad marriage and I'm stuck in the marriage, I'm going to find it very hard to help her to move beyond her problems. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. So what we're taking away, our perspectives can get in the way. We don't assume. It's easy to misinterpret. Again, questions, just do not assume. That's a big one. Anyway, hopefully see you next week. God bless.